If you've been subscribed to this channel for a while, you're going to notice some things are changing. So in this video, I'm going to explain what those changes are, why I'm making those changes, and who this channel is going to be for moving forward. Because I do need to declare that publicly that there are changes happening, if you haven't noticed already. So if I have to, pardon me, I have to be honest about where things have been with this channel. It's been really inconsistent, and it parallels with what's been going on with my family. When I first started this channel in 2017, I had one child. It's now 2026. I now have 5 boys. So every time a boy comes along in our family, I've had to sort of put pause on YouTube for a while. That's just what's happened. But you've been sort of forgiving in that sense. But essentially, if you signed up for this channel, it was about Camtasia tutorials. How do you get better using Camtasia? And also basically TechSmith products, because that's been my mainstay for all this time. That hasn't changed. So if that's what that's why you've subscribed to this channel, the way that things are going now, this may not be the channel for you, and that's totally fine. So before I continue making more videos, I need to explain where the shift is now. So I'm now shifting away from being the Camtasia guy and tutorial guy. And I'm going to be moving forward, and my focus will be helping B2B founders and leaders. I'm going to help B2B founders and leaders become the obvious choice in their market. And I want to help them to do that by using content marketing, specifically with video. And I have a philosophy around this, and there's going to be 3 pillars of content, which I'm going to share with you in a little bit. So it's going to be less about how do you use video tools per se. I'll still have some stuff about that, but it's going to be less about the editing tutorials and more about how to use content marketing videos to help grow and improve your business. That's where the shift is now going. So I appreciate that's going to be different to what I started with, and I have evolved over time anyway, but that's where things are at now. So I'm really focusing here on the B2B founders, directors, leaders, and those who are looking after these teams in a B2B environment where you need video content, but you don't know where to start, or you're not doing it consistently enough. So I'm here to help those people with their content. That's the main thing, particularly if there's overwhelm, not knowing where to start, what equipment to get, how to even put together an outline, how to deliver your lines to begin with, and how to remove all the complexity around it, where you don't have to be perfect to get started. How to use simple setups, simple frameworks, things that you know that you'll be able to rely on at a moment's notice. That's what this channel is going to be about. It's to remove the overwhelm of overthinking. So why am I making this change now? Well, if I have to go back to where this all started, this is in May of 2017. And I was working in the customer experience field. I was in a job that, basically I knew even years before that, that the customer experience field was really not me. It was just to bring in income. And I knew I wanted to do something in something to do with instructional design, something to do with video, something to do with content, right? So in 2017, I thought I have to make a shift while I'm working full time. And so I knew, well, I'm going to make this around video, and I know Camtasia is a really good tool. So I'm going to start making content around Camtasia. So that's where I started this 30-day challenge back in May of 2017. I did like 30 videos within 30 days. And, some of those videos, so I didn't realize we're going to get some views. I mean, this one about how to add a blur effect in Camtasia 9, over 9,000 views on that one. I just didn't expect that there would actually be people searching for this type of thing. And at that time, I was just doing random things, but it was always around screencasting, screen capture. And, you know, this is where things have evolved. Like this here was my very first video. And look at it. I mean, that was when I was still living in our really small flat then. Terrible lighting. And I didn't actually sync the video and audio properly. You know, that's how bad it was. My wife still told me just get it out there anyway to get the challenge started. So that's where things started. And so I completed my 30-day challenge when we were still in our small flat, newly married. And even here, I'm talking about content marketing all the way back then. Gary Vee, you know, I read his book, Crush It. So even all the way back then, I was interested in content marketing. When we moved house in October of 2017, you know, I moved into different digs. So then, you know, the background changed. The video is still lousy. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing with like color correction and stuff like that at all. Like I'm trying to, you know, still learning things. I look so yellow. Look at me. But, you know, I was always centered around Camtasia, right? So known for like how to make your videos stand out with animations. You know, it was called Democast Media back then for the channel. So that was a really big thing, but that was the style of video that I was doing. And back then, I was on Upwork. So not only was I doing stuff on YouTube, but I was on Upwork as well, doing some paid gigs. And I was getting paid to learn, right? That's where I was at back then. But every time we had another child, I needed to press pause on YouTube, and that was fine. Like that ultimately that's it trumps the YouTube channel, really. So that was on pause for a while. But I kept evolving. I kept doing different things. You know, I explored voiceover in amongst all of that too. So in here, I was doing streaming. I was trying out Restream. I built, with the help of my family, I'd helped build this like little mini voiceover booth with whatever things I could gather. And I was doing my streams in there. So things just kept evolving over time. And even here in this video, 4 years ago, MJ4U, wherever you are in this, wherever you are right now, even then saying we're waiting for more Camtasia tricks. So that was always really the reason for the channel existing, because people were searching for how to use Camtasia. And part of the reason why I was doing this in the booth was because I just didn't have the time to put together fancy tutorials. At that stage for me, it was like, well, I've just got to keep going. So all I can do at the moment is put a really quick outline together and just start doing a stream of consciousness, just start talking and start sharing what I'm learning. You know, just document. That's what it was at that time. Just document what you're going. Yes, I'll get back to Camtasia, but eventually, in and around 2020, later on in 2020, I had to end YouTube for a long while. You know, I stopped freelance work at that point because it was all just too hard for balancing family demands, the day job, trying to keep the freelance clients happy. It was all too much. And I just felt, I think really was that I had been trying to make the transition away from the day job and away from the customer experience industry. I wanted to get away from that and to move into something else where I was creating stuff on my own terms. That's where I was at. I was trying to create something around video. Something where I was making stuff that was using my God-given talents and not feeling so average in the day job where I was at. I was never going to be excellent in the customer experience field. At best, I was always going to be average or just feel like I wasn't fulfilling my potential. I knew something in video, something where I'm behind the mic or creating content. That's where I wanted to be. And I just felt crushed at that time that I'd had to give that all up and just leave it aside. Eventually, I did leave that job in 2021 and I left customer experience for good. And I had this idea that, because of the stuff I was doing in the booth there, I explored voiceover for a time. So in 2022, I went all in on voiceover, just that. And that didn't work out. I was doing my full-time gig. I'd gotten another job in a completely different industry and was doing voiceover on the side. But that really just didn't work out. And then later, and so this is where now the shift is really happening, because I thought I need to find what I'm going to leave aside all thoughts of like starting a business, freelancing. I'm just going to move into some type of career where I'll be happy enough. Something where I'll be happy enough and I'll be creative enough, but I won't worry about aspiring to anything really. Just be satisfied. Okay, that's what I was striving for. And so what ended up happening, I came across this academy for aspiring instructional designers and e-learning developers by Tim Slade. So I joined that in July of 2023, I believe. And that's when I was still working full time. And then I decided to just go do something silly. At that time, in retrospect, a bit foolhardy, but basically I decided to quit my job and focus on the academy and get the work done in the academy ASAP, so I could then land a role in e-learning and instructional design. So I was working in that from like 2023 to 2024. It was harder than I thought it was going to be, but I was doing it. And then at some point, the mentor here, Tim Slade, he said, you've got this talent with video. Why don't you just make a video talking about, the portfolio you've made and share that on LinkedIn? So I thought, why didn't I think of that? Perfect. So I did that. And then he was actually really impressed with the video. And so he essentially said, look, he threw me a little bit of work. So I've got some work that I can give you. So do you want to give it a go? So I was hesitant because it feels like a distraction. I'm not really wanting to go down that path anymore. I just really want to get a job now and be done with it. But I was intrigued. I was curious because the same week that I had posted that video on LinkedIn about that portfolio piece, I'd received a message from someone else saying, "Hey, I saw your video. I think can we have a chat and see what you're up to, like what you're doing? I have a client that could do with some help with video." And then there was some other referral as well. So there was a few signals here where I thought, the dream has not yet died. I would still like to see if there's something there for me where I can branch out on my own. I'm just nervous about doing this, especially with like finances and things like that. But I gave it a go. I did a little bit of work with Tim to help him out. And then I started the project with the other client. And so then I just like, okay, well, momentum is now moving this way. I'm going to now start freelancing with video creation outside of Upwork. I haven't been back to Upwork. I've just been doing this, clients through word of mouth, sharing content online, especially through LinkedIn. And that's how I've been moving forward. So from around August of 2024 until now, somehow or other, I'm still here. Like I'm still, out there doing the client work, seeking to drum up more opportunities in that field, in that space. And I've paid for a heap of coaching in different forms, video coaching, mindset coaching, all that stuff. And all that now has gotten me to this point where the focus of my life has changed. This all explains where things have come now. So I'm now at a point where I've got some clients. I'm looking to attract more clients, and specifically, it's really just helping them with their content. I want to help B2B business owners and founders with their content to help grow their business, be the recognized authority in their field. Because ultimately, it's the content marketing that's been the running thread in all of this. That's always been the philosophy, because it's a philosophy of service and giving. Ultimately, if you do it properly, I think content marketing can often be treated like thinly veiled advertising, and it's kind of like this balancing act that you're sort of straddling it. Yes, it isn't a self-promotion in a way, but if you're doing it properly, it really is. It is a way of serving people, adding value. And so I'm taking that interest and passion and directing it to B2B clients, not so much budding video editors or somewhat experienced video editors who want to get better at Camtasia. That's not going to be the focus anymore. So moving forward, with that said, this is what you can expect moving forward with the channel. I'm going to be talking about simple studio setups for businesses. It's the type of setup where, like what I've got going on right now at the moment, where I'm just using a webcam. It's a 4K webcam, and I'm recording this using Camtasia. So I'm still using Camtasia in the background, among other tools. But it's like, how do you set up a minimum viable studio that's good enough to get you started, to get you going? All right, so I'm upstairs. I'm working in the same sort of loft area with no door, but I'm using stuff that I've got on hand. One of the most expensive things I'm really happy with is this Amran Verge Max light that I've got. Like, that alone has been something I've wanted for ages, something like that. Clamps to your desk, helps you look great. No matter what your camera is, it'll make you look great. Having a key light that fits within your space. It's really simple. I don't have to touch it. I don't have to keep resetting it. It just sits there. It's ready to go. And so that's one of the things I want to talk about in this channel moving forward. How do you create your own simple studio to start creating content for your audience? Specifically, B2B customers. Removing the overwhelm, making it really, really easy. So that's one pillar. The second pillar is going to be about video system for founders. How do you set up your workflow so that you're creating meaningful content on a regular basis? That might mean weekly, it could be fortnightly, but whatever that schedule is, that you stick to that schedule, and that you're making it meaningful and value adding. And so that may involve software. So I'll still probably talk a bit about Camtasia, but I'm also going to be talking about other products as well. And then finally, how you become the on-camera authority, where you're really able to express yourself clearly. How do you show up confidently on camera? How do you bring your best self to the table? How do you structure your message? And how, I'm not always the best at this, but how do you speak confidently without sort of rambling? How do you get your message across? Just to even get started and pressing record. Those are going to be my 3 pillars moving forward. So, moving forward, yes, I'm gonna just like what I was doing on Democast Media. There's going to be that talking head component, just to keep documenting what I'm learning. So I will be talking about B2B case studies around content marketing, B2B content news, around content marketing. I'll be answering specific questions in a talking head style presentation like this. And yes, but there'll be tech reviews specifically to help build your simple studio, a desk-based studio especially, and how to be confident on camera. If you're a busy business person and you don't want to be messing around with saying the perfect thing, because that may not be, you may not have the time for that. So that's where things are heading. So here's my call to action to you. If you signed up for Camtasia tutorials all these years ago and you've gotten value from that, but you're not a B2B founder, you have no interest really in content marketing in general, you were here for the Camtasia stuff, this channel may not be for you. Thank you for having signed up in the first place. Thank you for adding comments to my videos for randomly. I never thought that people around the world would find any of my videos when I first started my 30-day challenge. It was just an experiment. And so this is where things are. Moving forward, if you are interested in working within that B2B space and standing out as the obvious choice because of the free value you're giving through video, then this channel is definitely for you. So either way, whether if you're unsubscribing or you're subscribing for the first time, I appreciate you. All right. God bless, and we'll talk soon.